Men's Fashion Week just wrapped up here in New York. And gentlemen, in case you're wondering how your wardrobe may change in spring and summer of 2016, WSJ Men's Fashion Editor Jacob Gallagher joins us now with some standout looks from the runways. Hi, Jacob. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So what was different about this Men's Fashion Week?
So this Men's Fashion Week was actually the first independent men's week here in New York. In the past, men's designers have shown during the larger fashion week in September alongside women's. So this year was the first time that men in New York have caught up to London and Paris and Milan and had their own independent week.
All right, that's good news, I guess. Was there a big scene, lots of celebrities?
There were a lot of celebrities, a lot of athletes, a lot of men trying to stand out both on and off the runway.
Of course, peacocking, which we love to see.
But it was very nice. It was nice to be recognized here in New York as we are over in Europe.
Absolutely. All right, so speaking of the designers, who were a couple of the standouts for you?
There is a brand called Eidos. They are the sub-label of an Italian label called Isaia. They're a little bit younger, a little bit more contemporary, but that doesn't mean more colorful. Isaia is very well known for being colorful and loud. Eidos is a lot more subtle. It's a lot more wearable. It's a lot more approachable. It's really designed for the man that wears a suit but doesn't necessarily want to wear it in the way that his father wore it. It's not very fussy. It's not very precious. It has a lot. Eidos had a lot to do with texture, and there was a lot of really rich colors as opposed to just being very bright colors.
Those are really nice looks that actually could translate to a lot of scenarios. I mean, you could see that working at the office, date night.
And this designer, he used to work at Michael Bastian. He was the assistant creative director there, which is a lot louder, a lot more preppy. He's done Eidos for a couple of years now. This was the first season, though, where it really felt like he came into his own. Everyone leaving that show was like, this is the one.
That's a beautiful collection for sure. Now, you also say that Orly tapped into something new.
Orly was very interesting. Orly is another very young brand. It's designed by a trio. It's two brothers and the wife of one of the brothers. It's a great line that when it comes to knitwear, they have really perfected knits. They're all New York based, but they produce all their knits in Italy. In the past, what Orly has done really well is this kind of youthful, very bright vibe. A lot of, if you imagine what Don Draper would have worn on the weekend, that's what we were expecting from Orly in the past. This year they changed things up. There's been a move toward femininity over in Europe, a move toward kind of being a lot more dandified, a lot lacier, these more interesting silhouettes. We didn't see that much here in America except for at Orly. It was really interesting to see them do kind of more cropped silhouettes with sweaters, a lot more lacy, a lot more like
Do you think
really
that'll
fine patterns.
catch on here in the U.S.?
I think it's interesting to see. It could catch on. There's a certain guy for it. What is interesting to note, though, is that Orly really was trying to make a designer push. I spoke to the guys, and they really only showed half of what their collection is.
Okay.
So there is a commercial side to it. They're going to continue to have commercial success through their knits and through their slimmer trousers, which have done so well for them. But they were just pushing the envelope, and that was really interesting to see with them being a young brand.
Absolutely.
It's nice to see people kind of be a little bit more inventive.
Absolutely. Now, how about a brand that everyone knows, an established brand like Michael Kors? What was his collection like?
See, I love Michael Kors because what Michael does is he knows what he likes, and he really can execute on a theme incredibly well. So this year he was really taking a look at what he called an island vacation, and he did it so well. He showed these pajama style jackets with suits and wider leg trousers. It was basically everything you'd want if you were lucky enough to be going on vacation.
I was going to say, they look super comfortable. Not sure that they are office looks.
They're not necessarily office looks, but from a brand like Michael Kors, where he's always going to produce suits, he's always going to produce shirts, he's always going to have that business, it was nice to see him kind of doing something different with what he was showing, to the press.
Yeah. I want to go where those guys are going.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly how I felt. It was really like the ultimate dream vacation.
Sign me up for that for sure. Now, if you really are looking for an elegant look, was there a designer that stood out there?
Robert Geller did an incredible job with this kind of more elegant, more sumptuous look that I hadn't seen from him in a few seasons. He's a designer who he's known for being a little bit avant-garde, for flying well under the radar. He appears at more progressive boutiques here in America, but his business does really well in Japan, and it was kind of this, I think that I don't know, I didn't get a chance to speak with him, but I think he drew upon that influence very nicely for this collection. It was really dynamic in all of the textures. There was some very sheeny textures. There was also some very, I would say, like almost ribbed knits that he had going on, but the way that he presented it, it was just very laid back and very confident. It was this blend of being both relaxed and confident that I didn't really see.
Texture seems to be big.
Texture is huge right now because I think that for men, the whole notion of wear color, you know, for years we were told just wear color and stand out. And a lot of guys did that, but then it didn't look that great because they were ignoring all the other elements of a fit. So texture is better insofar as you can still wear navy, you can still wear brown, you can still wear, you know, those kind of rich, deeper colors that you're used to. But if you play up the texture, it creates a lot more of a dynamic look.
Yeah, and it's more interesting and it feels good. It's
more interesting, and it really was kind of birthed out of this denim-heavy look that we saw. Men wearing a lot of dark denim, they were wearing it in, they were breaking it into themselves. They like that character, and there's something to texture that it packs a lot of character. And even though, you know, you might just be wearing a navy suit, if it has that little bit of texture to it, it really stands out than just the kind of flat look that we've seen for years.
Absolutely. Now, Tim Coppens, you also said he did a good job.
Tim Coppens is another very interesting designer. He had spent some time at Ralph Lauren. He's kind of in the past done this sportier, bolder look. He drew for the past 2 seasons upon racing quite a bit. What we saw this year, though, was more him drawing upon this kind of 90s youthful skater look, and it worked really well, in my opinion. It's not office wear, it's not right for every guy.
But it's fun.
But it's fun, and it's good weekend wear. It's kind of this nice, you know, we're seeing a lot of men. This is something that we've been thinking about recently in our department, which is that men that kind of grew up in the 90s, they grew up skateboarding, they grew up kind of with this wider leg look, this baggier look almost. Those men are now coming of age. They're wearing suits. So it's interesting to see what's going to come of that through designers.
They might be loosening up the whole slim look. They might be loosening up the silhouette.
Coppens pushed it very nicely in that regard. And he just did it with a simple pair of khakis, and it worked well. He's an interesting designer. Again, not for every guy, but he's young. He's from Europe, and he's showing here, and so he kind of has that more avant-garde bend to him.
Jacob, a lot of great looks. Men's fashion has come a long way.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.